You are on.
All right, it's Monday, April 10th. This is the Tufton Borough Board of Selectmen's meeting. I'll call the meeting to order and ask everyone present to join me in pledging allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any public input? Apparently not. We'll go right ahead and get rid of approval of minutes. The first ones we have are the March 27th meeting minutes. I've read them. I see no issues.
Same. We'll accept them as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, we have the Monday, April 3rd minutes, which I have read and find nothing that strikes me as being wrong.
Same. We'll accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Aye.
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 Great. First up on the agenda is Mr. Wayne Fuchs. Talk about telephones.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
I came early, by the way. I was in the basement. I ran some tests on the internet.
Yeah.
So first order is I was down in the basement. I tested. We did contact your IT company weeks ago. We did not hear back that they were scheduled and such, and it is plugged in and up and running. The town office happens to be on the internet, but we still have yet to put the police department on that same internet pipeline, by the way. We contracted, consolidated for fiber for 200 meg service. Upload, download both ways. We're tested out at 203 over 201. We're getting a little more than what we asked for, but that's normal. Sometimes it'll go down to 196, but it's awesome, fast internet downstairs. I plugged right directly into your switch. But I was just a little surprised, just so you know, that this had already been done. There was no communication back to us. We sent them the IP worksheets. They did their job. It's obviously hooked up. And I'm not sure when they showed up on what day, you guys.
I think they just came last Wednesday.
Oh, so I'm wondering, do you notice, you must notice a difference on your internet speed.
Not really.
That thing was down to 5 meg right there on that PC, on the old circuit. So we're at 200 over 200, just to report. But we do need to have them come back out because there were some instructions about how to get them on, get the police department on that same pipeline.
Okay.
So
do you need us to communicate?
yes, I think that's probably wise. I think possibly if you invited them to speak to me or have a session or come out or whatever we need to do.
Lakes region.
Yeah. If it comes from you, the client,
Yeah.
just let them know that I'm willing to work with them and whatever we need to do to get the PD on.
You want to run with that, Bob, being our
I will run.
facilities expert?
I will run with that.
Great, thank you.
It's more of an authorization thing, so they
Sure.
just know that it's sanctioned. So somehow they took my message and did react and respond to it, but the rest of the installation needs to happen, actually. So it looks like the police department is still on the old charter or Spectrum broadband internet.
Mhm.
So that's that. And I spoke to Kathy, and I think it's worth our while looking at the cost of services and as to what we are trying to accomplish here.
Yes. I think we agreed that we were going to purchase them, not rent them.
If you purchase them, they sell them to you at $60 off of regular price. Like if you go on Amazon.com, each phone is $60 off.
So we can't
So
beat
there's
that price, right?
There's a, excuse me?
We can't beat that price.
I have never seen us be able to beat that price, even on Amazon with all of the different listings they have. So if you do purchase, the company is giving you $60 a phone off brand new phones. Okay. If you were to rent, that rental would make your monthly costs go up for 3 years because they would include a rental cost of the phones for the first 3 years, and then that cost would go away. Sometimes that's a better solution for companies that don't want an upfront cost.
It's like $110 a month.
So the phones themselves represent about $73 per month if it were a rental. If you chose the rental link. So the only reason I bring that up is because the company is willing to rent the phones for 3 years. And at the end of 3 years, it's a $1 buyout for the phone, 15 phones. Pay them $15 and own the phones after 3 years. And they're not really doing much about trying to finance or have a percentage included into a rental fee. So sometimes people opt for renting the phones, which brings your upfront cost down to just my labor to install it. Or if you have other funds or reasons for the upfront cost, get the $60 off. So in the long run, purchasing is less expensive because the phones will be purchased at $60 off per phone. If you rented the phones for 3 years, it really does reduce your upfront costs, but over the course of 3 years, you're paying, about $146 or so per phone over the course of 3 years, if you chose to rent. I'm just not sure what your mindset is, which way you wanted to go. So we sent both links back on April 29th last year, and just recently to have them reviewed again and looked at as far as costs per month and so on. Does that all make sense so far?
It does. Right. Chip's been over there crunching numbers.
I'm just trying to
And,
find the numbers that he's got on his pages here.
So that wasn't developed by me. That was the spreadsheet that was outlining existing costs for charter, for internet, and consolidated for the phone lines. And Kathy had developed that sheet, which I've had for a while now as well. My costs are not outlined on this sheet, I believe.
That's what she wrote at the bottom. When she talked to you the other day, that's what she wrote on the bottom.
Okay.
So your sheet's the second sheet?
Yes, and there's two of those. One is headed on the top left as purchase of phones, and the other one is rental of phones. The seat price and the constants are always there. It's just whether or not you purchase the phones up front and take the $60 per phone savings, or rent them out over 3 years and choose to buy them then, or continue renting them.
If we have the funds to purchase them, I'd be more inclined to purchase them up front.
That's usually my take in business as well.
I agree with Bob on that. We have the funds.
It's more about the monthly cost of comparing.
The page that you need to sign is in the signature folder, first page. If you decide to do it. Should say Teletechnique.
It does.
Yep.
So the month-to-month difference is about $90.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
More or less, yes.
I
And I don't know what this
Well,
is.
between rental and purchase?
Yeah.
110.
Well, we got 352 versus 442.
352.50 versus, right, exact,
So-
426 or so.
Actually, you're right, 90. Because
I know you're looking at a,
I'm looking at the 187.33 versus 97.20. So it's $90 a month, not 110.
I'm looking at these sheets. I don't care about
Right.
Kathy's sheets.
You don't care about Kathy's sheet?
Those don't make any sense to me at all. 'Cause
If you're-
the numbers don't track.
if you are comparing just the phone system proposals versus,
Yeah, I don't care
rental
about.
versus,
And we made the decision to change.
yes,
Then I just wanna see whether we rent or buy.
I agree. So you are correct. 352.50 represents the purchase proposal with
Right.
a larger upfront cost of $3,307. Very bottom page, bottom of the page.
This is our upfront cost.
There you go, because that represents,
I'm sorry?
that represents the cost of the phones minus $60 a phone, and my constant labor, my labor is a constant.
Your installation.
My installation, that's what Teletechniques does to charge for our labor, for our services.
So we save money after the 14th month.
How do you get that math? Just
Well,
run
it's
through the
gonna
math
cost
with
you-
me, please.
It's gonna cost you $1,300 more money to get into the purchase.
Mm-hmm.
You're saving $90 a month
By purchasing it
by
up front.
purchasing. So that means you're not back to zero until the end of the 14th month. But,
Right. Yeah, I'm all right with that.
yeah, I mean, what's the life expectancy of this thing?
20 years.
Do we have a contract?
every year.
15 to 20
years.
So if we purchase,
Yeah,
your warranty on the phones is a 1-year warranty if you purchase.
okay.
If you continue renting, like for the first 3 years, for instance, if you're renting your phones, it's a forever warranty. At the end of 3 years, this particular company is kind of unique. It lets you buy your phones at the end of a 3-year agreement. Then the warranty is on you. They're not
But then
warranted.
you're,
Yeah, so either way,
you're
we're gonna,
buying unwarranted phones.
Right.
every 3 years.
either way, we're,
You know, exactly. I have to say, the experience for years and years and years, your system, all phones combined, it's not the phone that dies. Maybe there's a phone that will be replaced in a few years or 5 years, but it's the cost of the phone.
you gotta figure 15 to 20 years we'll get out of it.
What's a phone cost?
So on Amazon, approximately $146 for a phone if we were to find a phone on Amazon to replace it in year number 5, whatever.
What do these phones cost though?
They are about 146 minus 60. They are costing you,
About 80, 85 bucks.
there you go, right.
So we've got a $1,275 exposure. It's 15 phones, right?
Correct. I have always been of the mindset to purchase. It never bothered me to
I don't
replace
see-
a phone in 5 years.
I don't see any benefit to going the rent-on way.
I've installed
And are
these
we-
now for almost 4 years and have never replaced a phone of this model, by the way, just so you know. Same with you, like the Carroll County. How many phones have we ever replaced in?
Well, of all the phones that I've had up there, I've probably, how many phones we
And
have
there's
up there?
hundreds, there, between 100 and 150 phones.
I've probably replaced 4
Oh,
or 5.
okay.
You know, somebody spilled a Coke on it or
No, right.
something.
Well, if you spill a Coke on a rental phone, it's not covered. Just know that.
So walk me through this, Bob. Are we saying that we're saving $255.30 a month?
Not net, probably.
What is it?
Well, if you go by Kathy's math,
Yeah,
upgrading the internet to 200 that we did, installing the phone system, Kathy has us at $97.20 more per month. I'm not sure how she, if you agree with those numbers.
No, I'm not sure. Let me, I haven't had a real chance to see the bottom lines as depicted here. But as an example, if you take internet separately from the phone lines that are plugged into the old phone system,
Mhm.
the internet is $40 per month more over your internet costs with Charter.
Mhm.
So you're paying for internet for the PD and the town office.
Yep.
The new internet is $40 a month more. That on its own.
And we agreed
On
to
its
that.
own.
I remember agreeing to that.
Right, we upgraded to the 200 meg, where we would have actually had a savings on the 100 meg,
Mhm.
which was $200 a month.
Yep.
So the internet costs on this spreadsheet are outlined right here, as I see, right? Where it says Charter Communications,
Mhm.
up at the top.
Cables, yep.
We are not taking into account, this is this is much more accurate than mine. This has other departments in it. Very good.
Okay.
Good, excellent, you guys. So she did talk about the police cable and the town office cable. There we are. Town office, okay, there we are. I'm just catching up with the new run here. Town office was $109 a month. Police department was $139 a month. That line item, where she totaled up $249, is now $290. It's $40 a month more.
Okay.
So that $40 over
Is
on the
for
far
a new
right,
internet.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that, say it again.
you got $40 over here, all the way over on that
Oh.
column.
Yeah, oh, she
So
does, yes, she does.
So
Yep.
is it $249 or is it $290?
$290 a month is the new price for the internet, representing a $40 increase to your internet.
This is what our new internet is gonna cost.
Yeah,
That's what our old internet that's going away
right.
is currently costing, leaving us a net increase of $40.04.
And that's internet.
Internet only.
That's your new high-speed internet.
Okay. And let's keep going down the lines here.
Right.
So the town office is a negative 140.
So this is, I need some help here too. This is where you have phone billing from Consolidated, and there's a cost per month for 4 lines apparently. Now truly, I have not taken my little test set out and inventoried and identified all of these devices. I'm assuming this line item says 4 total lines, or is that 4 lines plus a fax line? If you take a look at the very first Consolidated Town Offices line item, I'm just not
I
entirely
think it's
sure.
4 plus the fax.
There, thank you. So 4 plus a fax. I wasn't sure how to read it. With the ability to drop 3 of the lines. Now, we're gonna go through this line item by line item, but the chances are you might need some input from me. I was hoping today, this was my visit, to actually inventory telephone numbers on devices. In other words, does the alarm panel that has to have one of these hardwired lines, is it sharing one of its positions with
It's
a
on
fax
downstairs.
line?
No, the fax is a separate line.
But I personally
Right.
did not hop onto my test set and identify the inventory of phone lines. This is helping to have this here. So somehow we believe we can drop 3 of these telephone numbers at $27.49 a piece and save $140. Is that for that line item?
Yep.
Yeah. So you see, we compared internet as its own thing. Now we're comparing the ability to remove phone lines as its own thing for the new phone system services.
Is there any reason that the alarm line can't share the fax line?
That's my point, exactly. So for instance, an alarm panel has 2 positions. Generally speaking, the first position is a dedicated cost per month, it's a phone line. Per code, you're allowed to have the second position share a fax line. So, is there a way to wiggle around and save another $27 a month? That's where I just haven't been here enough to do a design yet. And so there could be some wiggle room, maybe plus or minus here, regarding phone lines. But it looks like easily 4 lines plus a fax, we're allowing ourselves to lose 3 of these $27 a month numbers.
Yeah.
So we need,
All right, so
now to
are
look,
we netting out a savings of $255 a month on phone lines?
They would take them up, yeah.
it appears that that's, no, let me catch up for sure. Because the police department also read that way even on my old one. Let's see if she thinks we're doing with the police department. So am I assuming that we are keeping 1 fax line at each location?
That's what it appears to
Okay. So does $255 savings for at least the numbers outlined, with some trickery or wiggle room in inventorying alarm lines and positions? If that is a minus 255 and that's accurate, then take that off of your bottom line of whatever we contract for with the phone system. because we can get rid of hardwired lines because of the new monthly cost of a phone system.
Right.
That's how this should be working.
And any lines
So-
that are active, we could convert to DIDs.
Well, not quite. Well, yes, on the new phone system, you're exactly right. Sorry, you're right.
So just
Whatever phone numbers get
staying where
converted.
we're at,
Yes,
you got 255.30 savings by juggling around your lines.
right.
But that's less the $40 that you're increasing the cable by. So you got a net savings going forward to that point of $215.30.
Because you're backing off the $40.
Yeah.
Yes, because we increased internet, absolutely.
So now, townhouse at 89,
Yeah.
Maybe, but townhouse is not involved.
Townhouse is not
in
involved, I
making
don't know why
comparison.
that number is even in here.
well, I think she's trying to give us a whole phone cost.
Yeah, that's what this one showed. It had everything on it.
Yeah. What are we paying now for a phone and what are we paying? Going
Okay,
forward.
so charter townhouse, is that just internet or is there a phone line at the
There's
townhouse?
internet up there, too.
I just don't know that. I imagine that's internet
There's
for the
internet
price.
there. Here's the one
Just the
that's
purchase
questions.
page.
Have a
She's
seat.
called me in.
Yeah.
What are we on, purchase?
It's on the purchase page. Just to follow along with any questions.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got $40 more in internet costs.
Right,
And then we've got a savings of $255.30 on phone lines.
No, that's the total of them together. So on the phone lines, it's $295.34.
see right here.
Okay.
And then these two added together means it's a total savings of $255.
Oh, that's right, you did the math, you took the $40 out right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So
I
the
took
total, that's even better.
So $255.30.
Homes are a different rating.
But that's just coming from that $290, that's not
Yep.
including his phone expense.
Exactly.
Yep.
Options are different.
But on the bottom, you have your phone expenses, where I wrote it by hand. On the very bottom, where it says, from monthly expense, $352.50 minus the $255 you're saving, it's gonna cost us $97.20 more a month. And then the phone system cost, this is what this is, with setup. Now, if you go with the renting of the phones, personally, I can't see how that's gonna help you.
He did the math. Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
You might as well
14-month
stay with
pay.
Purchase,
the purchase price.
yeah, there's no benefit to
Because
renting.
you're still gonna pay the setup up front.
Yep,
I'm the bad
Right,
person with
right.
a constant. I have a labor
Yeah.
figure,
well, you know, I
regardless of.
suppose
what
we
it is.
have to pay you for your services.
Well, let's see, but I'm,
One way or the other.
I'm the one that you don't get to.
Can't do a tax write-off and
There
do
we
it.
go. I know.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
so
that-
how did, just, let's finish up on the
Okay.
right side.
you can't count the bottom ones because
How do
you
we
guys
get-
aren't doing that.
How do we go from $255 savings to a $12 savings?
You don't count these. This is townhouse.
Or why are they here?
Because you guys, back when I made this chart, you were talking about doing the
And there
townhouse
was a
because,
possibility of putting a phone in
Okay.
there and so
Right,
on.
right.
Yeah,
so don't even count. This covers for up the top. The
Right.
255 covers this. And it's gonna end up your $255 savings is
You do
from
peers.
charter and consolidated, but then your cost of your phones and your monthly brings you the $97.20 up and above.
So,
You do a quote.
check this out. This is where we did the town of Wolfboro this way, by the way. We did their core, and it was just, we did good, but we started adding other departments. Now look at this. What is this cost from Consolidated? Why is this $102 a month? I'm going down to the townhouse, bottom
All right.
line. Just explore for a second how this can make a big difference to your budget. Answer me, how many physical phones are there in the townhouse?
There's 2 lines, 1 phone.
Right, so one phone.
Right.
Yeah,
A
right,
phone
shading,
is approximately $26 a
yeah,
month.
we should get rid of those 2 phones
Bam.
and buy a 16th phone.
But there's more questions. Is there internet at the townhouse?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Where's that cost? Is that
That's
a
not
charter?
on, that's
that
charter.
the charter
That's the
89?
89.
You know, keep that internet. Do we need to keep internet at a townhouse?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah,
You're right. And if
you have communications with the boiler, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, not
it's
just
the-
that.
It's the election.
No alarm up there.
Oh.
The election, the other line is for the election.
Meeting,
Election.
yeah.
Right. So, as an
Can't really
example,
get rid of
if,
that.
right, and if we decide, hey, we have to have internet there, it's a cost, we agree, let's not change, let's not put fiber in there, there's no need, right?
Right.
Let's keep charter.
Well, that's why it was added on this, because you guys were discussing
Perfect.
fiber
Right.
for over there, because you're coming.
But
yeah.
we're still not done yet. Can we get rid of these two lines, yes or no, and save $102 a
You can
month?
get rid of one.
Because there's a fire alarm panel at the townhouse.
There's no fire alarm panel
Oh.
there, but the election has to use a phone line.
Really? Right. So.
Unless they have something they can do through internet now, I don't know, we have to talk to the
Okay.
town clerk for that.
So here again, little pieces and parts, right? What if Charter is your internet service up there? What if they became that phone line at far less of a cost than Consolidated is for copper? Save, $10 or $20 a month more on that line item alone. But do you think we can get rid of one of these lines?
Yeah, you can get
Do
rid
you
of one,
think,
yeah.
do you think that's the total cost, 102 for two lines?
That's
Meaning
for 2
we're at
lines.
about $51 a
Yeah.
month per line?
Yeah.
So can we get rid of $51 a month and get rid of a phone line and put a $21 a month seat in and
Yeah.
save another,
And this doesn't
21,
include your
$25.
fire either, fire department. This is
there, now
just
that's
here.
another,
I didn't even put fire in, because you guys weren't discussing that.
it's just a way of squeezing another $25 a month towards that bottom line by putting a simple phone up there.
I say
and making
yes.
it, and making it 16 phones instead of 15 phones. That sort of thing is exciting to me.
Get us to the bottom line. Get us to the bottom line.
Oh, what are you asking me to do now? So you want me to try to take off a line on
Yeah,
Consolidated?
well, let's take one line off of the townhouse, right? Let's know that. Let's know that if there's a line left over that's still $51 a month, could it be?
Let me go ask
Could it be these
her if she needs
$27?
a line. She said she didn't, but let me check
Okay.
with her.
Look at compare the town office telephone costs, $27.49 instead of 51, in other words. What if Charter just put a little box on the side of their internet cable box and gave us a phone line?
Right.
Is that $27 a month? I suspect it is.
Yeah, because it's the cost of the seat for the, through the phone system, right?
My seat from the phone system is this cost to have a phone, to replace a phone. an actual
Jen
handset.
doesn't need a phone line, but I wanna see if he needs it for his heat.
Well,
He's on the phone.
Does that help with the overall picture? The
think he
more
just
I can
needs internet.
save a $50 line
If he
and
only
replace
needs
it with.
internet, Jen says she does not need phone lines at all up to townhouse. She just needs internet.
right.
So that, if we don't need those two
We need
lines,
it.
then you're saving 102.18 there by dropping the 2 lines of Consolidated.
But add in one seat price from me to put a phone there. Instead of 16 items,
Why do we
50.
need the phone? No, he's
Oh,
saying we
oh,
don't
I'm
need it
so
at all.
sorry. Yeah, of
You know
course.
what I'm saying?
I'm
Yeah, you're
fixed
focused
on
on
getting
the phone.
getting it as part of your system, right?
Right. See, he
Yeah.
doesn't need a phone line?
I don't know. Is he off the phone? Jack,
What?
do you need any kind of phone line up there?
Just the internet.
Just the internet. So we could drop the 2 phone
See, but then I
lines.
can't take credit. You're not
Wow.
you're not making the change because I'm putting a phone up there. No, but that's,
So if
imagine.
we got
Sucks
rid of
to
the
be
2.
Well, that should just have gone away a long time ago, right?
Should have.
If you get rid of
But not
those
because
2
of me.
consolidated phone lines, then you're not over anymore.
Yeah,
You're saving a couple of bucks.
I
But
like
you
it.
get a upper,
Yeah, you're reducing that by $102.
yeah.
right, 102.18.
That's a biggie.
You still need the 89.99 because
There we
that's
go.
charter.
Right.
And charter does go up on a regular basis.
And by the way, if you ever needed a phone up there on a weekend or on a such and such, grab a phone and plug it in
And it'll
for
just,
that day.
it'll just magically
I
work.
gotta tell you, you plug it right into the internet that's
Mhm.
there and you have a phone,
Okay,
right?
wonderful.
Most
Yeah.
people have cell phones, that's what she said. I
Right.
use my cell phone if I need a phone.
Okay.
So,
All right.
now with the cell towers.
So are there others like this? How does the fire department play? And so how can we make this thing go
Well,
positive?
I think that's a conversation for another day.
Right,
I
right.
think we need to focus on just getting this building done now. you're,
But does it still make sense?
oh yeah, I
Because
think
I
it
was on the
does.
phone a day ago,
Yeah,
and
and I said it
It
was
is-
$97.20 more than,
I knew it was 40 on the internet side.
Right,
But
Same thing with the transfer station. We probably don't need to have a copper phone line up there. We could probably add.
so now that we've come to this, I still don't think we're done.
Mhm.
It's not all pretty just yet. It's going back to the fire alarm panels and the phone lines that are currently being paid for those. I would want to double check
Mhm.
the dial tone that's on those panels. Do you agree on the town offices showing consolidated communications? That's a consolidated bill, and the cost of those lines are represented right here.
$27.49. They might be higher now. This was when I did this for you back in June of 2022.
So not a scare tactic, but that's why I'm asking the question, because consolidated phone lines are more like the townhouse. They're $55 a month.
They've gone up.
So I was just kind of wondering, is this it almost made me think you were getting your phone lines from Charter over the internet, not necessarily consolidated.
Well, we
the real-
pay consolidated lines.
There, okay. So no two ways around it. Consolidated's phone costs in New Hampshire have been going up to $55 and $60 a month. And this was a line item that made me pause a little bit, making me think, oh, maybe it wasn't consolidated, it was actually a Charter phone line, which is cheaper than consolidated. Is that number real? Is that
I mean, I can pull them right now and see what last month's was.
Yes, that makes me wonder, and you know where you see the pricing is the bottom line, because it's not the cost per month for the line, it's all those taxes at the end
Oh,
of the
yeah,
day.
I know.
So however, if we have 4 or 5 phone lines divided by bottom line,
Mhm.
that's our cost. Just made me feel like consolidated was a lot more than $27.49.
Yeah.
Or were you on some sort of a super whiz-bang contract or package? Maybe,
I
maybe
have
it is.
to look at it again,
Yeah.
but this was back in June.
Well, I think
So
at the
for
end,
sure, that's gonna make a big
I
difference.
think
to
at the end of the
bottom line.
day, we're getting better, faster internet, and we're saving money on our overall monthly bill.
Well, I wasn't convinced when we were on the phone with each other though. So if you're getting rid of $102 for the townhouse, that's great, yes. But what is the real cost of the phone lines that we might be able to be saving as well? Then we can kind of hold our head high and make the statement that, wow, this new phone system is also saving you money. I didn't expect it to. Back when I wrote my letter to you back in April of last year, I was expecting it was more per month to get into a new phone system. It'd be so awesome that it was evened out. Right. So purchase for sure. Wendy and I were not even sure about that with you guys.
Now, Wayne,
Yes, sir.
I gather from the conversation, you still have what I would call some field work to do. Testing, plugging in, making sure where everything goes, etc. Yes?
I have no other costs.
No, right
No,
today.
right,
You're here,
but-
you have some
Oh,
stuff
sorry,
to do
yeah,
now.
To do.
so I have, yeah.
Well, what I have here is an authorized dealer access form. And it's for Teletechniques.
Oh, for the
All right.
system.
It's going to have to be signed at some point in time. Is this something we need to sign today to give you access to what needs to be done? Do we wait?
You don't, if you decide to press the button and let's do this on the quote,
Yes.
on that web link, if you decide to do that and fill that out,
Mhm.
I have to be part of that partner.
Right.
So whether that gets done today or we're making sure we know what we're doing and it happens next week or whatever, point is, for me to be able to program your system and be your guy,
Right.
that has to be signed.
Well, I've read this through, but I'm sure the other two haven't.
Got it.
And what you are describing is what it allows you to do with our system.
With the phone system.
Were we to
correct?
vote to have me sign this today, I would read it through for the other selectmen. Now, we have to decide whether we want to do that today or not. After we decide, we vote that we're gonna purchase or not.
Right,
And
exactly.
a heads up, I have to use a credit card for that.
First time,
I
right.
can't use, so I'll have to use Jack's credit card for
That seems doable.
The only other question I have at this point is, Where are we paying Wayne's services from?
That's where my question was. I don't know where I'm paying these from.
You are paying them to that company when you
No,
sign.
no, he's talking
No,
about
Our
budget
own,
money.
where the money's coming from,
Right.
not you.
Our money.
Okay, so
It has
sorry
nothing to do
guys,
with you.
but it is a one upfront to the go-to people. Teletechniques does not invoice you later for anything.
Okay, well, either way, we still have to come
Does
up
that
with
make
the,
sense?
we still have to come up with
How that portion gets paid. I'm with you.
And that's,
the 3307.
yeah, you got $3,900 in your phone line right now.
In which
Oh.
one?
We're gonna overspend some,
Yeah,
but
it's up to 31.
your telephone line on financial
27.
administration is
Now.
$3,900.
Read the
How many-
bottom line.
There we go. So that's, watch this.
So we're just gonna end up swapping fees.
Good.
Instead of what we're paying Consolidated and Spectrum right now, we're gonna be paying the new.
I love these bills. So does this represent town office and PD?
This one is just
Oh, it is.
As soon as you're ready, make a motion.
Well, I would move that we go with the purchase phone system, the price quoted, and authorize Wayne to proceed.
I'd second that motion.
And we're doing the police, it's for discussion, hopefully.
Yes,
We're doing the police as well.
no,
Yes,
I mean,
Yes.
sorry, yes, really,
it's this whole building,
right.
both sections.
So the police does not have a phone line in their budget.
It comes
Yes.
out of
So it all comes out of financial administration.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. And we've
Well,
got
they
about
have-
$3,000
Just-
open
is
in
this
that
whole
line
packet
right now.
PD? Oh,
So, and we didn't do a Warren article on the phone system.
No, we didn't think
No.
we had to.
Yeah. All right.
Where did you say the money's coming from?
Well, we've got $3,000 sitting on the telephone line of financial administration, so we may end up overspending that by a couple $100.
That's what we have contingency for,
Or, we're not-
or otherwise.
We got a lot of unspent budgets,
Mhm.
so we'll make that work.
Are we ready to vote?
Think so?
All those in favor of accepting the proposal to purchase our phones and install the system? Aye, we're buying the phones.
Okay.
got it.
So
At this
now
point
let's
in
just,
time-
if we could tighten the number up so that we know exactly the difference, and we're gonna have to explain this in simple terms to whoever might ask. But I'm not seeing a net savings yet. Is it, what are the phone lines cost?
Well, I just saw that the phone lines were 27.49, they're now 31, so that's a difference right there, they're up to 31. Now, does our monthly ever go up? Not for the first 3 years, right?
Correct.
Then
Correct.
after the 3 years, it's
We-
payable.
It is, by the way, and we contact you 30 days before and we make the case that it stays the same. We've done it for 4 years now, that way. I do believe everyone, just so you know, just so you know, it's not the $31 per month that's outlined as a basic cost. And I'm just perusing the bill, just to make sure there's no other things like DSL or weird other
There is
charges
that.
from
Yeah,
Consolidated.
there's long distance charges, and I don't know why we have
They-
those, we've complained about them for years.
And they will always tell you they don't have the software to put things in the right spot. But here's the bottom line, it's $771 a month for the town phone lines, right?
Well, that's including the fire department,
I
yeah.
agree, but there's going to be, now I haven't had a chance to count all the numbers.
And highway's not in there.
So, how many phone lines, just quickly, do we think we have on your spreadsheet? 4, okay, plus 1, 5, just bear with me for a second. You're gonna find that you're about $60 a month per line to have a phone line sit here, because they are top-heavy on their taxes and fees. And it looks really good in the line item to parse it out.
Until you get to the bottom line.
Oh boy, I truly believe whatever phone lines we're getting rid of, we could at least call it a $50 line, if not 55 or 60, by just simply counting the numbers of lines and dividing it by $771. Bam. If there's no other funny business on this bill, like a DSL or, you know, other lines, that's the cost per month for 5. Where was the PD? Wasn't the PD about 5?
You're dropping 3 from the town offices,
Right,
and you're
but
dropping
current.
2 from the PD.
But current numbers of lines across the town, right now, 5 at the town office,
4.
4 plus a fax, I think they said, right?
That's including the fax.
Oh, okay.
Right,
that's what I
8
was
total,
asking.
but for the PD and us it's 8.
Excellent, 8. Now, the town, that building has,
Townhouse,
townhouse has 2,
2,
so now we're up to 10 total lines.
yeah,
What else? Fire department, right?
but we're not doing that,
Mm,
but we
we
have.
don't-
But
We're
is
paying
that,
for
is
them
that
now.
on this bill?
Mm.
So how much is a fire department? 2 phone lines at the fire department?
Oh, no,
Ah,
they
There.
got a lot,
there we go.
because of the systems,
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't count the,
Yeah.
don't count the,
mobile to mobile or
right.
anything like that.
the emergence with the.
Okay, so
The one that you
10
were
lines,
involved with.
10 lines were at $71 a month per line. So let's find 4 or 5 more lines to add to that and divide that into our bottom line, and we're way above 31.
Did you get the recycling center?
Oh.
No,
Is that on this bill?
no,
Ah,
that's what I was trying to say.
I know.
Highway's not on here.
Oh, there we
They
go.
come in at different times.
Is the
So
fire department on
highway's not on there, fire department's on here, but
So
the
that's a
highway's
variable.
not on, and.
So you got $10,230 for the fire department phone charges,
Mm.
estimated budget. So that's
That's a lot.
3 times what we have
Mhm.
here.
Do you mind if I see again? Sorry. Does that mean when you said fire department was such and such?
They have a number of them that come out of that, it's
Fire
not
department.
just called consolidated. You've got
So,
Verizon, you've got their cell phones.
Right, because it's
they
3
all-
stations.
You know what, just looking at the costs,
Mhm.
PD phone overall charge on a separate,
Yeah.
$219.
Right.
Town office, $219.
Mhm.
Fire department, $228. So it's safe to assume they've got 4 or 5 lines over there.
Mm.
So we might be running 15, let's make it easy and safe. Just call it 15. We're at $51 a month per line. If they have 5 lines over at the fire department.
And that's right where you said it would be,
There we go. Yeah, that's, I look at these bills,
daily.
yes.
So what you're saying is that it's not 2749, it's 51.
Because of taxes,
Okay.
but
And how many lines are we reducing?
there you go. Now that's the fun part, because,
3 out of town office and 2 out of police.
and we agree that we're keeping a fax machine and a fax line at the town office.
So you're $255.
That's what that one,
Right.
instead of 4. We're up to
Exactly, so that's why you're
51.
dropping 3, because you wanna keep the fax.
Yeah,
Good.
So,
we might have to keep 2, because I don't know if she needs something for her state
So that
town
was,
clerk.
yep, it's a good question. Usually
have to talk
old
to her.
news,
Mm.
but usually a VPN on your internet services between Hazen Drive and them. Usually not a phone line anymore, but,
I don't know, that's the
So-
world. That's not my world.
okay, this is why I wanted to get here for a design meeting, by the way, and do a little more detail with my test set.
I can do more numbers for you guys if you want the latest phone bills.
okay, so it's 140 plus 93 plus 117. $350. So this number here
It's really 350.
is really $350. So it's
negative 350, right?
Right, $95
Savings.
difference. So now your 97.20 is $2.20.
Well, you didn't count this, we're gonna drop 2 lines here,
Right.
so you're over now, you're above.
So we broke
You're in
even,
the-
so
you're
basically
in the
we broke
black.
even in this building.
Yeah.
And then once we take those two over at the townhouse away, we're
Right.
ahead of the
Yeah,
game. And then we haven't even gone anywhere else yet.
yeah, right, right.
So it's the town clerk that does the registrations, and that's a line.
It's good.
I don't know if it's a line, it
But it's
might be
for
done
me
through
to
the
find out.
internet, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, now that we've agreed and we've beaten this horse right to its knees, it's not dead yet,
Yes.
we should sign this agreement to allow Wayne to do his work. I'm gonna just briefly go through what this accounts for the public. All right, by signing this agreement, we're gonna allow access provided under this agreement, which would mean adding services to the account, activating handsets, telephone numbers, etc., changing configuration settings, e.g. voicemails, call flow, etc., accessing reports of call activity, troubleshooting phone configuration, and voice fidelity. The access provided expressly does not include the following items for which the customer must contact LogMeIn directly. That's purchasing additional hardware, termination of account, termination of telephone numbers, and modification to directory and 411 listings. So this would actually allow Wayne to do what I call his field work and start to set this up. I'd like a motion to have me sign this.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll do it now. Thank
So
you,
what's
Wayne.
me, Bob?
Customer name would be Town of
The
Tuftonboro.
communication with,
I'm sorry.
Customer name would be Town of Tuftonboro.
Correct.
the communication with, the go-to service.
That's what this is giving me permission to do.
By the way, we do all of that.
Well, I have to go online to start it.
You have to sign
Yeah.
on and say yes to that form.
Right.
But all of those little things, adding a line, removing a line, adding a phone, making changes, it's all us. You can call them directly as well,
Oh.
like it states, but you should use
That's
us.
what we're paying for.
Exactly.
Okay. Are we done with this?
All right. That's,
These
just
are,
leave that right
that I
there for the
left
time
on your
being.
desk,
Great.
revenue.
Again, thank you enough for all your efforts so
Left
far.
right here. Yeah, I got 'em
Hopefully
right
we'll
here.
do
That's,
more.
Unless you-
Keep it moving.
Yeah, you still have stuff to do here
He
today.
asked,
I do, I wanna just check a couple more phone lines on the tower.
he asked me to plug
Seems
in.
very
There
on
was
top of
another
it.
so he-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This one.
I'm gonna give him.
That's the
to him.
facilities guy.
Okay,
Oh,
very
okay.
good. Yeah.
here's what the numbers plug into the revenue.
All right, moving on.
So this is not my business, right? Shall I retire to my office in the basement?
Yep.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Provided that.
Yes, absolutely.
Do we happen to know if the PD is available for me to take a look over there?
I saw a cruiser drive in about 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
so
They want-
we've been knocking the door. Huh?
Assistance there anyway.
Yeah, chief's not here, but sergeant is,
Right.
and the administrative assistant probably is too.
You there, Jack?
I think he's on the phone.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right, we're running way behind. Whether he likes it or not, I'm gonna put building last. We've got our architect, Phil Bennett, who's waiting
And
patiently.
I have Jim and Phil flip-flopped. It should be Jim first and then Phil.
Nice.
Sorry. I know.
Thank you. All right, Jim, come on up, our roadie.
Morning.
Morning to you.
Alright, so from November 16th to April 1st, we've been out plowing and treating roads 51 times. Some of the times have just been in the higher elevations. We pulled the road ban last Friday along with Wolfboro and Ospey. We threw them down the same day. And we've been doing a lot of cold patching on the paved roads and filling potholes on dirt roads.
Excuse me.
We've been picking up a lot of debris from the last few storm damages. It just keeps coming down on every single time. But the new town truck is at Viking getting the plows and dump sander body installed with controls. Hoping to hear back on the delivery date soon. It's been there a month, so It should be close at this point, I would hope. But I have not heard. I've been trying to make a little contact and nothing's come back yet. But not that we're in a desperate need for it at this point.
Right.
I'm noticing that street sweeping is being performed.
It is. So unfortunately, the last minute, the people that had been doing it, GMI, said that they just didn't have the help this year and they couldn't do it. So I was fortunate enough to find somebody else from Milton. And they gave us one day in the middle of the week, and then they worked on Saturday. They brought 2 sweepers in on Saturday, and they're bringing another sweeper back on next Saturday. And we're hoping, they're going fast, they're really doing a
Yeah,
good
they're
job.
moving right along.
Yes,
I saw that Saturday.
I saw the 2 on Saturday.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
wow.
they got more than half the town done, I'd say, in one day, so. I think we're in good shape there. Hopefully next Saturday we can finish up.
All right, now, moving even farther forward. The Lakes Region Planning Commission is looking for an update
Yeah.
on what we've done to our roads, degrees of reclamation, etc., since the last time we reported.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I'm
Hopefully you've got that and you,
Yes, I started on it, I just haven't completed it, it's a little bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be.
I thought it was really complicated myself.
But you saw the fresh map, the one that he brought in here last week?
Oh, no, I have not seen that, I just have a
Yeah.
piece of paper asking
Yeah,
for everything and what the cost was for it and
Right.
that kind of idea.
Okay, so you're on it.
there's a fresh map,
Okay,
which needs to be updated by you on what
Okay.
you've accomplished since the last time the map
correct,
was.
so I have the old
was
map
drawn.
and everything's numbered and whatnot, so we know where everything is. I'm
Yeah.
hoping it's the same.
You checked, because I think this map he said was slightly different than.
Oh, really? Okay, so you
So
can
they
get a copy
added
of
the
that.
culverts to it, which is one of the differences.
Correct, yep, I had a separate one for that, you know, with the red list for the culverts and whatnot, which most of those have been corrected, so.
Good,
3 storms.
please,
Okay, so you're at,
stay with it when you have time.
All right, thank you.
Chip would like to
you
address
spent
that next.
93% of your winter budget,
I know.
Yep,
but you're averaging $5,665 a storm, which means that you have 3 storms left between now and January 1st.
Yeah, it's not good.
You spent 45% of your budget. So 679,000 was your total budget. You spent 310, you got 368,000 left, not a lot left. So you need to keep an eye on that going forward.
Understood.
Second thing on the closing of the roads, if we're gonna close the roads, we need to come up with a written system. So they gotta call you, get written approval to drive on the road, or they get a ticket.
I agree.
Or, I mean, Bob would have us not close the roads, but if we vote to close the roads, we need a system. So that when I talk to the police chief and I say, I'm sitting in my sugar house and all I see all day, every day are dump trucks full of stone and the roads are closed, what the F is going on? And it's like Mickey the Dunce, you know, they wanna blame you and I wanna blame them and.
I didn't give anybody permission, and I have a written form at this point
Yeah,
that they need to have.
well, then I think you need to, if we do this again next year, and I'm sure there'll be a debate about it, but if we do it, then we need to notify the police chief that if they don't have a written approval from you, they get a ticket.
I
That's the only way we're
called
gonna
the
shut this
police
down.
on a tractor trailer truck going up Dame Road, and I knew where it was going,
Yeah,
and they didn't have permission. The police went there, but I don't think, you know, it was
no,
just
it's
a
like
stern warning.
everybody gets a free pass.
Yeah.
I see a crane go down to Ridgewood or whatever that development
And I
is.
told them they were not allowed to have one.
Well, you know, then the next time the police chief comes in, I think we need to give him a lecture about what happens. They need to issue tickets or these people were not stopped.
this isn't the only issue we've had with issuing tickets either, about other things,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, maybe it's a pain in the ass to go to court, I don't know. That's not the point. The point
Right.
is the reason we close the road, from my estimation, is so that they don't get all beat up during mud season.
Correct.
There's always a debate over whether or not that's effective or reasonable for people to have trucks. But that being said, we did close the roads. So if we're gonna post the roads, we need to enforce it, that's,
Couldn't agree any more than that.
yeah.
We need a system that does find them.
Yeah, yeah, make it, I mean, they're not gonna pay an extra road tax to the town of Tuftonboro to upgrade our roads when they put a hole in them. I mean, I look at Ham Cemetery, I don't know if you guys did that or somebody else did it.
I think the plow caught there.
Yeah,
I know it did, it was me.
that's the kind of occurrence that you end up having to rebuild. Anyway,
Yeah.
if you go on.
Yep.
We've got the, I think that we ordered the blinking signs, stop signs,
I was
Yes.
told it did, yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
so. those-
when they come.
And while I'm on my rant,
Should be like
can we
2
just cut that lilac bush down? I mean, it's on town property, just get rid of it.
Oh, do you think it is truly on town property?
We can go
Back
and measure
where it
it,
is.
but, I mean, we'll
I'll
at least
measure
trim
it,
it back.
25 feet from the center line, if it's
Yeah.
on property, we cut it, if not, I just keep trimming it back like I have
It'd
been.
be a shame to cut it down, but it does need to be trimmed.
Yeah.
We do
Or
trim it
could
every
we
year.
We'll
dig it
go
up
back,
and
it's a
relocate
lot.
it there somewhere
Yeah,
though?
come on.
Yeah, true, you could cut it
Is
at the
it-
stump, it'll grow right back.
It'll grow back.
Yeah,
Can we dig it up and relocate it? To,
No.
no.
it's like beavers, this isn't a beaver we're talking about.
Oh. So yeah, we'll cut it back again, we do it every year, it grows pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well, we have a road agent here. 19 Mile Beach. Is there anything that he can do for us at 19 Mile Beach?
It's gonna require a wetlands permit.
Yeah.
Even for repair? Yeah.
And it's,
Even adding sand back to the beach,
was
is the only
bricks.
way it requires a wetlands
it
permit.
was Brooks and
wow.
HEB
Right,
that
Well, ice.
designed that.
right, and HEB originally designed it with plastic inserts in that ramp, and I had to change it to
So
concrete.
maybe we need to get HEB in here and figure out a better, I mean, I
I
don't.
think the end of that wall should probably be pulled back and poured, not just loose blocks.
Yeah.
Or at least turn and go up.
Or turn and
Yeah.
brought back a little bit, and then
Yeah.
the ramp was better off when it was gravel. It would almost fix itself,
Yeah, yeah, it was kind of a
You just
natural.
rake it out
pretty much.
in the springtime. All right.
So do we wanna have, can we get a hold of HEB,
Yeah,
have them come in, we'll keep these
well, we need
pictures?
to talk to them about the, grant program they're working on.
Right, as well.
Upper Ledge Hill
All
Road.
right, you're off the hook for that one. How about we've got a down tree up at the town park by the fire department.
Yes.
Can you guys take care of that?
We can, I was just gonna let the ground, you know,
Okay,
firm up a little bit before we go in there with the chipper and
okay,
make ruts this deep.
okay.
I
Thank you.
did look at it last week.
Thank you.
So what, you don't know when the truck's gonna get here, the new truck? Okay.
I'm assuming within the next week or two, but
Where's the dealership?
it's in Westminster. It's in Vermont, but
So
just
you
like
need to drive our truck
Yeah.
over.
they
Oh,
do
they're gonna
all
do
that.
the swap.
Yep.
Okay.
Even better.
Yeah, that's how it was done last time. They delivered it and
Drove home
picture
and
and all that stuff. But
what's the other? So I guess we'll talk to Phil about site work and whatnot. I don't know, we need to really get involved in that.
No. I don't have any more.
There was a, in addition to the map that Lakes Region Planning brought over, there was also a information
Possibly, yeah.
packet, if you will, of the different methods and what works for how long, et cetera, et cetera.
You may have a copy of this already.
Guys.
I do have a copy of that.
Okay,
And honestly, you know, I've taken classes on that. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I raised a concern when Dave was, asking for the level of reclamation, so to speak. Because there's places in these roads where you can dig 23 feet, and there's places where you can't dig 6 inches. So I'm gonna have to leave it up to your expertise to decide what level actually fits, because as we know, we've got ledge everywhere, you can't be blasted and whatever. I would say do the best you can with that. He was pretty amenable to, he knows that some of these, again, within 10 feet things can change. It's just so bad.
but it's, we're not in the decision-making loop when it comes to the paving company.
Right.
You deal with them.
Sure.
So,
I just want to bring to your attention too, the list of different methods that they have was given to them by Allstate Paving. And of course, they put what makes them a lot of money. And you go to another paving company and they go, yeah, we would never waste our money with that. They don't waste their money with certain things.
Well, that's where we have to leave it.
Yeah.
The determination up to you. Tell him what was done, what
Yeah,
level
I can
of
tell them exactly what was done.
reclamation, if there was any.
On some of the things that they want to do, like the chip sealing, probably not a fan of that.
Mhm.
I've never heard anything good about it, so I don't think that's an option.
you know, I think it would be more saleable as an option, not an option, if we were to take a road that we've worked on 10 years ago
And try it.
and do a quarter of a mile, just do it. You know, whatever the cost, it can't be that much, but just try it in some location to see what the.
That'd be good on a side road somewhere, I think.
Yeah, sure,
Because-
Brown Road or whatever.
Maybe a neighborhood road.
Because the cost of that versus just putting a top coat on,
Mhm.
I think you get more value with the top coat than you do putting chip seal on. And also, one of the guys that works for me also used to work for Molten Row, and they chip sealed his route one year. And he said he was out there 4 times longer spreading salt, trying to dry up, because it leaves little pockets in the pavement to hold water. And if you didn't get it dried up, it just kept freezing over.
Mhm.
So he.
And there may be some preparation things you could change up. You know, maybe there's more work that can be done if you're gonna overlay a road, like, I don't know, Shirley Way. You know, we're gonna put a top coat on that. Well, let's take a look at what's there now. How did it weather the winter? Do we need to seal it before we top coat it, or what's the process there? Just we're not putting pavement on top of cracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and that's normally what we do. We drive around, we assess everything and just see what needs to be done.
There's some pictures of Shirley Way.
Nice.
That's the old section that hasn't been paved, but it took a hard hit this year. We plowed up some of the pavement, which we knew before we started that was a good possibility. Because it started doing it on the old section that we paved last year, the loop. It started doing that before we paved.
Right.
And that's why we said, look, we gotta get this done. And unfortunately, it's happening on the rest of it. You can
And
see the pavement just disappeared on the edge.
I know we haven't talked about it here, but I think you need to be aware that we're gonna be probably looking for you to put it out on the street. We need a few more than just one bid.
Correct. Yeah,
So-
no, I'm on top of that. I actually have meetings this week, and GMI is coming this week, so I've got another phone call that I'm waiting for a response on.
And do you see any value in breaking up the neighborhood roads from the main roads as far as the company you use? Would a smaller paving operation work better in the neighborhood road?
That's a question we can ask,
Yeah.
but I think the value is, the more pavement that you put down, the better price you get from a company. So the one we have been using, like FR Carroll, it's how many ton of pavement you put down is where you get the price break. So the more they put down, obviously we're gonna get a better price.
Okay.
Anything more from anyone for Jim?
I'm good.
All right, appreciate it, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Jack, you ready to slide right in here?
Yes.
All right. We'll have our building inspector's report.
So right now I have 13 building permits, 3 new houses. I've done 154 inspections. And the state no longer gonna test Melvin beads for bacteria. They don't do it.
We got that
Yeah.
notification.
Should we be doing that on our own?
You have to bring it to Concord or find a lab.
So,
The state,
I'm sorry.
every time they were there inspecting, they said there was hardly any use there and it hasn't had much bacteria
Right.
over the past 7 years, so they just decided that was it. They got rid of Lang Pond Road 4 years ago. Stopped testing that, so. They just don't have any help to go out and test, that's the issue.
Well, yeah, it's all budgetary.
Do we have a responsibility to the citizens to test it?
It's a state water, body water, so.
Yeah.
I'm just asking the question.
When it's to their advantage, the state owns the lake, and
Right.
when it's to ours, the state owns the lake.
So do a review sometime when you're not doing anything else on your fees. Cause right now you're at the end of March, you're at this 6% of your building fees. You should be at 25%, 20%.
It's always slow at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I know it's slow at the beginning of the year, just, so you had a house permit that came through, how much does that cost?
Well, I have 3 off for the year, 3 new houses for the year.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
just take a quick look at, what your rates are.
Yeah,
'Cause-
they're the same as all the towns around,
Okay.
within reason, yeah.
Right. Hopefully that'll pick up.
Things are picking up, you say.
They are,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's coming.
Getting a lot of septics in and all that, so yeah.
Good. Anything else for our codes officer? Great, have a wonderful day. Now, we can talk with Mr. Phil Bennett, Alba Architects.
Really gonna be good. I have to go do an inspection right down the street, so.
Okay.
Good
I can catch
morning,
up on the
Phil.
phone later.
Thanks for being patient with you.
No problem.
Good morning, Jack. Yes. So,
Is there something specific you just want an update, basically, or?
I think we're gonna review, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't ask for you to come here today.
That's the state
I think we need to review the plans,
rule.
However, yes,
because,
there are a couple of concerns on the plans, and I think we should look at that, because the last thing I wanna do is get hit with change orders. You know how that works. That can really drive your budget crazy. Now, you're looking at, it'd be the area we're gonna expand, there's a bathroom there and a couple of things.
Yeah, a couple things that jumped out at me is this, with this addition here, this is new to me. I thought we were coming straight across and not doing anything past this wall.
Right, we couldn't fit some of the requirements for spaces. We had nowhere to work in the IT room. There wasn't sufficient space to get office, and Chief Shiguri had concerns about not having, if that became the office, they were going to be short of space. So we looked at the extra area, and it still falls within that number that we had talked about, not being under the 1.8, including soft costs.
Okay. And the future plan, you have some of these spaces coming out in here, like this bathroom being remodeled, the toilet moving because you made the bathroom bigger. I'm concerned about that because I'm thinking that we should, whatever we build now is what's gonna stay. I can't see expanding a bathroom a couple of feet. Having to chip up concrete and move a toilet and a sink. Things like that. Basically, I thought we were, I get what you're saying about here, but I thought that we were severing the building here. And hopefully everything that was built here would stay the same and this area would be used for
The
future.
The previous plan that I sent before this was on there. This layout hasn't changed,
Mhm.
but if I understand your concerns. I think it's actually the other way around. That the wall has to bump in because the IT columns moves into here and the storage off the EOC space. But I haven't looked at that. I need to go back and check that. But yes, this wall would have to be moved
so this is the IT closet?
for the phase 1 only, yeah.
Okay.
because this corridor obviously gets extended when this office gets built, all this has to come out. Can make it work with the,
I mean, if we're under budget right now, I know we realize we haven't started building yet, but if the number falls under budget, the way you've got it drawn up, I'm okay, but,
obviously that budget is just an estimate.
Mhm.
So obviously then going to bid is gonna be the real telltale issue,
Right.
and
Every time.
it's not inconceivable that we'll have to do some, budget trimming, yeah,
okay.
and it's just,
And the HVAC system, I know we, a few weeks ago, we touched off on the HVAC system to see if we had to go with multiple units or if we could go with the chiller, and we're gonna talk to your engineer to see.
it's significantly more to go to the single chiller.
How much?
Really?
I don't have a number, but I mean, if you want a number,
Okay,
it's,
because if we, they have expanded the government rebates on heat pumps. So, I mean, we could look at this, I think $3,000 if we can get on a rebate. And are these, or is this a heat pump? that we're-
well, either way, they're heat pumps. It's just the single chiller is a more sophisticated system, and it has a lot more control equipment that goes with it and install, and then also you're gonna have less options for people who can service it. I mean, in all encompassing, it is a better system. You'll have less condenser units outside, but it does introduce other complications.
And it'll
And
require
that's,
three-phase.
that's what requires three-phase, I guess it was my
Uh,
question.
No, that wasn't the reason why we switched from that to this. That was almost purely cost. The three-phase, I'm pretty sure the three-phase is not required. We could still do the chiller with a single phase.
Interesting, okay.
And we have an email from the planning board about that heat pump rebate.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, Chip asked me to find out about the possible rebate from the federal government for installing a heat pump at the new police station. The program is only for homeowners and comes under the Inflation Reduction Act. It gives a rebate to the homeowner on their federal income tax and doesn't apply to towns or municipalities.
Oh, there goes my $3,000.
Right, that's not gonna happen.
But, other things do happen.
Yes.
We may end up having to break our solar project up into 3 pieces. Transfer station, fire station, police station. If we can't get it, something other than net metering from New Hampshire Co-op. If we do that, then we're gonna want a 3-phase hookup at the police station, because that removes the limit on our size. There's no kilowatt size on your solar plant with 3-phase power.
And we've got the whole back 40 that we can put solar panels behind.
Yeah, however it works out, I mean, we can create enough energy for the whole building, including the heat pumps. That's a consideration that we need to put in. So we need to know the figure on putting 3-phase power in.
Is this something you want to have in hand before you go out to bid? Because we're pushing. I know it's not. We're expecting the RFQ responses back on Thursday. We'll do a matrix of the rating system of all the various respondents. Hopefully, we'll get plenty. And then we'll get that back to you, and we can meet again to discuss who you want to include on the bid list. And in the interim, this all has to go back to USDA to get the final approval before it goes out to bid. So we have a bit of time, but if you want to actually start updating the MEP system to include that chiller and to go to 3-phase, I don't know how long it's going to take to switch over everything. There's a fair bit of work in it.
Switch what over?
The drawings and specs.
Just the design?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we need to know what the cost difference is. I'm not convinced about the bump out either. If I can put a space in someplace for the IT or pieces. I mean, every time the chief decides he needs a bigger building, it costs us more money. We have $1.8 million, that's what we got. And we're gonna have a police station for $1.8 million. And this isn't gonna be the trip. It's not gonna queer the deal. We need to constrain ourselves from expansion. I mean, we are more interested, or I'm certainly more interested in making sure that we've got the ability to generate enough electricity to run the place. I'm much more interested in that than I am with whether or not he has closet space. That's just not a player for me. And that's, you know, you're doing it, every square foot is what?
400 plus.
$400,
At best.
you know? Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah. Although I would say that the square foot rate is not the most is by far not the most accurate way to price, but it's all we have right now.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. It's the only benchmark we're dealing with.
I would just throw out there for consideration that on that rate, we are under the 1.8, including soft costs. Is it worth going out this route and the understanding that that may be the first value engineered element out? If you don't put it in, you'll never know the number. Or if you try to put it in later on, it'll always be more than what it was if it was originally in the bid.
How big is the attic gonna be? Is that gonna be conditioned?
The attic,
Yeah.
only a small portion of the attic is conditioned, where we have the air handlers and the fan coil units and the ducting. And then as the ducting comes out of that small conditioned area, it all has to be insulated as well. But the rest of the attic space is vented. I don't know that having the IT up there would be feasible. You need fairly consistent access to that.
Well,
What are we gonna have for access? Is it gonna be a scuttle, or is it gonna be?
Yeah, there's a
Or is it
hatch,
actually gonna be
hatch
a-
right here. That comes, the ceiling panel comes away and
And
then
drop down the stairway?
stair.
yeah, I don't, and I know there's temperature considerations and everything else, but I mean, if you're doing an air handler outside and you're doing all of this stuff up in the attic, I think your mechanical room's big enough to handle the IT equipment as well.
Well, don't forget that we have radiant heat in here as well, in the
Right.
basement. So we've got a boiler, we've got the well pump, there several electric panels. There's a fair bit in there, and you need 3 feet clearance for virtually everything.
They take up a lot of real estate.
So it does, yeah, it does. You need a lot of empty space in the mechanical room to do servicing.
Well, I mean, whatever, the armory, the evidence lot, I mean, there's a lot of different areas that I think we could squeeze IT into. And he puts everything on the cloud anyway, so this is, I mean, I realize you have to have some amount of hardware to make it all work, but I know my Apple computer doesn't take up much space.
No, but mechanicals.
No, server rooms are different. You need room to, you need a place to put a rack.
And we need to have some degree of extraction because if they overheat. So it's, I don't know that mechanical room, you'd
So-
want to have to condition the same way you would want the IT space.
Yeah, you wouldn't wanna put it, you wouldn't wanna put a server rack in the same room as a boiler. The idea is to keep a server room cool, not warm. Or at least room temperature.
I just bring it up because I don't like the expansion, but that's,
Yeah.
well, you're probably right, Bill, but I mean, put it out the way it is, and if the numbers come back too high, then we'll just eliminate spaces.
Well, and I don't want to start second guessing at this point what's required in this building, but there is some room for value engineering. The heat pump system can provide both heating and cooling. The radiant system is the primary heating system
But if you can't afford to have a backup and a primary system, the radiant heat we could potentially put the tubes in the floor and leave the rest of the system out to save some money and put if you know, later on you want to put that radiant heat back in, you've already got the slab work done, and it's just putting the boiler in. And what do you think USDA would say about not having a backup? I don't think it's a requirement. I don't know.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to. If you have a heat pump, you have to have secondary means of heat. We're not.
Oh no, I know.
We get too cold up here.
Right.
However, does it have to be radiant? You know, we could put heat coils in the ductwork and use that as a second stage. For heat.
Oh yeah, and for these, well,
I know the buildings.
For the cold climate heat pumps, you have many of those. You already have that built in.
But with an electric.
Right.
Coil.
Electric.
Not hot water.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Well, there's two things. One is the radiant was the favored option when we were going through this originally, was having that radiant as a primary heat, and slab radiant as opposed to baseboard radiant. Now, if you are not interested, if you don't mind whether it's all electric or not, you can do electric baseboard. That's going to be the most cost effective to put in.
Yeah, I think I'd want to go that far.
Not the most cost effective to run. It's not the most cost effective to run. But if that is used as the supplementary heating,
Right.
then you're relying primarily on the cold climate heat pumps. If it gets too cold to keep up with the temperature, then that electric baseboard can kick in. And that electric baseboard also gives you the backup if should the heat pumps, one or two of the heat pumps go down, and you've got some backup for that. I mean, I don't think that you need to make decisions on this right now, but I think if we need to make value engineering, there's some areas that we can do that will be reasonable saving, potentially reasonable savings. And reducing the size of the building is I would think is kind of a last case scenario. A worst case scenario, maybe not.
Yes, sir. We're not reducing the size of the building. We're constraining the expansion. That's what the difference is.
It didn't have a bit of scope creep going on.
We've already reduced the size of the building. What we see here in front of us today is an increase. So.
Yeah, I thought we were looking at this.
Yeah.
So did I.
Before.
So you're gonna get your RFQs back this week or next week?
Thursday, they come in.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Have you had any calls asking questions or?
Cammy's had a call from one, I don't remember who it was.
Bowen.
Was that Bowen? I thought you had another one from somebody who wanted more information.
Oh, Brian somebody.
Right.
He didn't tell me where he was from though.
So Bowen, and I know you didn't, you weren't a fan of Bowen, but it's an open RFQ, so if they saw it in the newspaper, they can do it anyway. The other one called asking for drawings, which I'm saying, well, we can't get them to everybody, so how can we give them to him? I think the USDA would have a problem with somebody getting almost effectively preferential treatment because they happen to call in, and they shouldn't need the drawings. All they're doing is showing their ability to do the project. Right. So we agreed not to do that, and then I think I had one call from Meridian in Guilford who said they were definitely going to submit, but that's the only contact we've had. We did send it out to the 10 builders that we sent the list of, right. And then it went into the 2 papers, and I also put it up on one of these aggregation sites, Construction Connects. It's in New Hampshire specifically. I don't know if it ever went up. I can't get in there because we don't have a subscription to it, so I can't get in to check, and I never got any response from them. Hopefully it went in, but I don't know for sure. But in either case, we've covered with the newspapers for the open.
3 phases. It's one of these. we don't have any equipment in the building that needs three-phase, but if we ever choose to put a solar field out there, it would be in our benefit to have
Right.
three-phase.
Right, right.
But the generator is gonna be a big issue as well, if it goes three-phase. It's a more costly element.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are things we have to weigh the benefits and the costs, because, I mean, I just assume have one solar thing up at the transfer station.
Me too.
And
I don't
I
want to
think
split
that's
it
gonna
up.
be our focus, but if we can't, we have to at least be able to, I mean, we're gonna be changing this shit in August.
Right,
No,
It's in,
can't be doing that.
right.
so,
And a chiller would be the only thing that I would think that would require three-phase, and you're saying that we might not be big enough to require three-phase.
I don't think that was the reason why we came away from three-phase, or the chiller. It was more the cost issues. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
What would that be, like a 10-ton chiller maybe?
Maybe less. I'm not sure.
Maybe
It's
less.
just,
And how big of a generator?
what was it we were looking at? I think
50?
it was. Yeah, I can't remember offhand. I need to double check, but
Can't imagine it would be any bigger than a 50.
well, the heat pumps obviously are a big load on
Right.
the generator. So.
all right, well, let's see if we
Uh,
can't figure those things out before we pull the trigger on awarding anything, so we know.
Yeah, diesel or propane?
I believe it went propane, but the diesel you get more bang for your buck. A lot more BTUs per unit. Right. More energy per unit, and the diesel generators are less expensive, and they
You can downsize them.
downsize them. It's easier to have short of having a 2,000 gallon propane tank buried in the ground. You can have a smaller diesel tank and get you just as long. But I think we did, if I remember correctly, we did go with propane because we weren't in favor of diesel at the time. But I'll double check that. Been a
Well,
few
we should
months
have
since.
commonality. I mean, we got generators all over the place, at least, are any of them propane?
I think the one at the, actually, you know what, I can't tell you what the one at the fire station is. I don't know what that is. But I'm in favor of diesel.
Myself as well.
So for now, you're probably gonna take a closer look at the generator, HVAC system, what the three-phase is feasible, and take note of our objection to this.
I think certainly USD, when we talked with the USDA on the phone and we got the higher up, as it were, he was fairly committed that the funding is gonna go and whatever we have to do to make it work.
Right.
So the money was gonna be available. I suspect their first comment will be, well, why did you put that in if you don't need it? If you're taking it back out, is the building gonna work? And I think, well, yes, it'll work, and we don't have the budget otherwise, then I can't see them, they might grumble, but I can't see them drop, it being a major stumbling block.
No, and they got a copy of the initial plan before that, so they're aware of what approval we've gotten out of the town, as far as their.
Well, the 95% review set had the addition.
Okay.
I actually don't know what, Ken was saying the drawing never went on the website, so I'm not sure what was available to the town for the vote.
They voted on
Just on the small.
our recommendation, you know, and I thought that the drawing was up when we were talking about it, but it's certainly available if anybody wants to take a look.
Do you have anything we need to sign today?
I do need you to sign an actual, we sent a sample version.
Yeah, I saw
that.
that.
I'm sure there's other stuff, but we've got a couple things that we need to finish. The engineer hasn't, the civil and structural hasn't got me his revised drawings yet, hoping to get that this week. We got a few more things on spec.
I don't see your signature.
What changed?
Nothing. What we signed the other day was a draft. It wasn't
Oh.
this final.
Right.
So I'd make a motion that we read this out so that everybody knows what we're doing here. It's an amendment to the professional services agreement from Alba Architects. We have a compensation adjustment. Revised construction documents to reduce project scope and bidding process for $18,375. Update construction administration, $47,500. Previously completed construction documents, $53,498. Total revised amount, $119,373. And we would need to sign this. I'd have a motion that we do sign this.
A second.
I didn't make it, I'll make it. Rob
You
seconds.
did.
All in favor of signing the revised amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Actually, it only requires one. That would be me.
That would be you.
Very good, I'll do that.
Okay.
And as always, Phil, I'm really aware that this is as aggravating for you as it is for us. And I appreciate your efforts on our behalf.
So you'll get a schedule for us of, once we start the process of when we're gonna see you, and we should have a schedule of meetings during the course of the build.
During the construction?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've allowed for bi-weekly, every 2 weeks for a visit, and then a few extras for unknowns. If it takes more, so be it, that's on our dime. We're not gonna leave it hanging. And obviously with Jack doing the clerk of work stuff, I know we're gonna have to go through that again with the USDA, because there's different people involved now, and
Right.
getting them to approve that the code officer does it. But I don't think that's gonna be a stumbling block. So yeah, the process from here is we'll get the RFQs back, we'll rate them. I think we should meet and discuss discuss who's gonna go on the list for the bid documents. And maybe by the time all that's agreed, we'll have approval for the bid to go out from USDA. I'm not sure how long that review is gonna take. And then we've got a bunch of things to do to revise the standard contracts to USDA has all these revisions for every contract that they want us to done. We'll have to do on that. We don't have, actually a couple things I wanted to confirm. What's the 911 address for this site? Do we have that?
For that
That lot?
location?
Yeah,
Jesus.
Something.
because I think that has to go on the USDA.
Two
Jack's getting it for us.
220?
Right, Jack's doing it. He's bid.
620, but I gotta just make sure.
I think it's 220. Middle Road.
It is, 220 Middle Road.
There's a number of things that we haven't had an opportunity to really go over in terms of specification. So I just want, one in particular is hardware, door hardware and whatnot. We've contacted Slage to do a project-specific schedule. And it's really it's kind of a placeholder for bidding. We need to have a basis of design.
What class hardware?
What class?
Yeah.
It would be second or first.
Police station should be first.
Yeah. USDA requires everything to be equal and approved, so that's really just a basis of design, but we need to carry something in there. So there'll be opportunity to, whatever the builder comes back with, if we don't consider it an equal.
Do we have the opportunity to recommend a certain vendor, like locksmith, to work with your contractor? We use A&B Locksmith, and it'd be a good idea to keep him with us moving forward.
I'd have to check on that, cause everything is, they want, USDA is all about getting the lowest price. So they wanna give the bidders the opportunity to go to anybody to get that lowest price. When you start nominating subs, that gets a little more problematic.
Well, keep that in the back of your mind, please, because that's a pretty important vendor to have in your back pocket. And I think you'll find if they put it out to bid and they include A&B Locksmith in the bid, he might very well be the lower price as well.
There might be a way that we can name them as the sort of basis of design, and then I'm guessing some people will just use them because they've been named. It's easier than trying to get somebody else. Okay, I think that was, this is a list of the paperwork still to do for the USDA. That's
why you get the new one.
Make sure Cammy gets a copy of that.
Yeah,
Right.
do you want a hard copy or a scan sufficient?
You can scan it.
Good. Great. Onward and upward.
Do you want to keep that? Or?
Sure, unless you need it.
I don't need it now. I was pushing it for this purpose.
I hate rolling plans. I'm folding it.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Next up would
Thanks,
be our
Bill.
transfer station superintendent. I saw him. Probably out there hobnobbing with the girls. Oh, there he is. Oh, no, he's running away again.
Chris, we're ready for you.
Always.
Chris?
Please, I only have one copy of everything who wants it. No, this is mine, sorry. This is yours. Copies of everything. Just,
I'll pass it on, bro. Nice.
yes, like, training. I can just go through it if you want real quick. We're gonna be, I got all the guys signed up for training for the month of May. May 22nd and 23rd.
Is that an annual refresher training, or is
Yeah.
it just something new?
Annual refresher training for everybody at their time. Bids. You guys, we had the contractor bid from Atlantic. Recycling for the 36,000, whatever it was. That was the bid that we had bought now for that replacement of that compactor. I put out 2 more bids, one for waste management, one for another company out in Ohio, which I give you both of. I have copies of both of them. Waste management, in Kimball Passion, says never return my calls. And I've got emails with correspondence with them, and the Ohio company, I emailed them, they emailed me back, saying, we've got your email, but we never got a copy of any information, so I faxed them information last week, and I didn't get any response back from them. Receiving the fax, but I have the fax reception and the copy of the fax. So, that's the information on that. This copy of this article in there, I don't know if you got a copy of that.
We did.
That was featured in the NRA little article that they wrote that for us. After town meeting, we had that woman stand up and raise a ruckus on this paper. So I did some more research on this paper. There still is no market. The only thing that we can do with mixed paper is pull it out of waste stream. It's still going to cost $77.80 a ton to get rid of, but it's $102.80 a ton to get rid of MSW. So we're going to save
$30 a ton.
$30 a ton if we pull out paper.
And then you're gonna have to dedicate a compactor for it, right?
No, my position on that is what I can do, if you guys want me to try it, is I can put a bin, we have a couple small bins. I can put a bin inside the building, do a voluntary, resident recycling trial. People can throw their paper in there, and then I can get Schnitzer or Waste Management to drop a container outside, and then we can keep it covered. That way the crap doesn't blow every place. And when the container inside is full, we can pick it out, dump it, cover it back up. When the container is full, call them and have them come pick it up. And, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, haul it.
How do you feel about that?
It's, it'll add a little bit more work for the guys once every, couple weeks to dump that thing. But, it's, $30 is $30.
Yeah.
If it's gonna save, $30 every, little while pulling it out of the waste stream.
Is it gonna cost any money to have that bin outside?
No, well, we're gonna have to pay trucking, we're gonna have to pay, dumping fees. But,
So is there any net gain for the town, or are we gonna break even, or is it gonna cost us money?
well, we're gonna save dumping fees on MSW. We're gonna save the $3 a ton for MSW. I mean, it's probably, at the end of the road, it's probably all gonna be a break even, but until we do it, we don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, it's food for thought. You can tell me next month what you think of it.
I don't know. I think if it doesn't cost us any money,
I mean,
and the residents want it, we should try it.
I think that it might be worth, try it for
The summer?
6 months.
Try for the summer?
It can't hurt.
Right.
Try it for 6 months. I'll be the first one to say if it doesn't work, next it. But, I'm here to recommend you guys anything that will save us money. And if it will save us $30, every time we ship out MSW, we can try it.
I move that we allow the recycling superintendent to start a voluntary paper recycling program.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that, above and beyond what's already been said? In that case, I'll ask for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Your glass disposal budget currently, as of April first, you spend 40% of your budget on glass disposal on that line.
Right, and I think what happened was, waste management is terrible at bookkeeping. And what happened was, they sent us a December bill in February. I had to pay the December bill in February, and it threw us off. So, I'm going to be over that line.
Yeah.
And
Your whole
Kathy,
budget's good. It's
I discussed that. And if you look at the 23 budget, I'm up about 7,000 on my,
From last year?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at last year's.
And which is, partially due to this is a sticker year, but I look at that line item and if that line item is partly due
So
to
you're also
sticker,
up on,
but we're up on pretty much everything else.
on tires, steel, and metal.
Yeah,
You're up to 61% of your budget used.
Can you tell me tell us what's going on in May on Sundays?
Well, I was gonna do
yeah.
that.
Just wanted to,
Nothing's going on in May on Sundays yet.
I wanted to touch the yearly report for the land enforcement is. You got the email, the memo I sent you on the landfill email that was going around town. I gave it to
Oh, about the seat.
Seabridge.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We don't need to go into depth about that. You guys received it. So, we,
This is a proposed schedule change.
correct, we guys, put in a proposed trial schedule for May. I had proposed a schedule, and I gave it to the guys and said, this is what I want to do. Take it, run with it, make tweaks, do what you want, give it back to me, tell me what you want, and I'm gonna submit it. So, this is what I got back. And I figure it work. I'm willing to try it. And I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work.
Well, I'm gonna comment. For the
Sure.
public's benefit, because they can't see it.
Yeah,
What you're proposing is to have the transfer station open at full capacity Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
correct.
And on Sunday, have only trash or MSW available, no recycling. And that would be under the auspices of having a per diem employee, I presume now, run a compactor, or two, however it turns
Two
into.
compactors, yeah.
All right. And your budget, I'm sure, has enough money in it for per diems that financially you think that would work.
Yep.
Okay. Now, when you have your per diem employee there, there'll be no supervisor at all.
Well, it depends.
No, it doesn't depend. There either will be or there won't be, Chris. If he's gonna be there by himself, then that's how it's gonna be. If he's not, who's gonna supervise him? Because your schedule lists the rest of you folks the rest of the week. Now, I don't know. How's this gonna work?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends how the week's run. I mean, this is just how I have the schedule set up.
Okay. Would there be someone on call
Sure.
on a Sunday
Yeah.
in case this per diem employee ran into a problem he was incapable of handling? That's the deal I'm
Yeah.
asking about.
Well, I'm always on call.
Okay. That's interesting.
What's up with Monday the 22nd?
That's just a typo.
Okay.
That should have been filled in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a typo.
Monday holidays obviously it wouldn't be open.
Unless it's a holiday that's scheduled off.
Right.
I mean, personally, it becomes an issue for me because I can only get there on weekends, but if I have to go Saturday instead of Sunday, that's fine. It's really not that big a deal.
I'm sorry.
I would give, this is a May schedule, and we've got at least one more meeting before then. I'd suggest that we mull this over till the next meeting. Think about this myself.
What was the purpose?
This was just so that the guys could have a weekend day off. We could give the full-time guys a weekend day off, continue to have the transfer station open for the public to come in on a weekend day. We're not,
Because the problem I have with just having a per diem there on Sunday is now you have no control over the C&D guys with their trailers, any of that stuff.
Well, that, again,
yeah, we're not.
it kind of goes to my
Yeah.
concern that there's
I mean,
not.
I can see how, if the goal is to get your full-timers a day off during the weekend, then let's split it between Saturday and Sunday. I mean, I think I'd feel better about that. I mean, having them both off on Sunday and nobody there to watch just doesn't, I don't know that that's gonna work.
I think I'm okay with adding a day to the schedule during the week, but I think there needs to be full-time coverage on weekends, both days. Not full-time, not everybody, but I think you'd be able to work out a schedule where you could give people time off on weekends, alternating Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay, that's,
But they had to start somewhere, and this is
right,
good.
yeah, I mean, I think the point of this coming in is that that's the ground, the starting point, is what I'm saying, is the, Rick's knew, but the other two guys are saying, hey, we've been here 10 years, we've worked every weekend that we've been here, let's come in and start the conversation, you know? And my position is, we're not mandatory recycling. We don't need to have the recycling center open on Sunday if we don't have to. We can have it open Saturday, and we can take care of stuff on Sunday.
No, but you gotta remember that the residents of this town, every one of us are creatures of habit.
Correct. It would take time to retrain.
Time. I just can't see people having a day that they can't do certain things at the dump. Or at the transfer station, excuse me.
Yeah, we had, I can't tell you how many phone calls we had Wednesday, asking if we were going to be open Sunday. I said, you mean Easter?
Right,
I said, no, we're not going to be open for Easter.
right,
Thank you for calling.
yeah. No, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to you adding a day so that they could get their 35 hours in.
Yeah.
But I think that you should have full operation, even if it's with a limited amount of bodies. That's just my opinion.
Well, we can go back to the drawing board and reconfigure it, but I don't see any sort of idea of getting two guys. I mean, that would give me odd numbers, but we could go with a couple guys Saturday, a couple guys Sunday. Then I just have to figure out a rotation.
Yes.
Then I'll have 3 guys one week, 2 guys another week. But my schedule doesn't matter. I mean, I'll just.
Yeah, you're only talking about 2 employees that you need to muster around,
Yeah.
and I just don't feel comfortable with both of them being off the same day every weekend. And you're gonna run into trouble in the summer when
People
you've got
get time
so
off.
much volume going through there.
Weekenders, yeah,
It's-
they want to be able to drop off their trash and head for Massachusetts, but they don't want to have to leave their recycling at their place if they don't have a hauler to do it for them, because then the coons and whatever the bear, who knows, but would you please take this back and see if you can address our concerns and see what your employees have to say about that?
Sure.
If we, it just,
We can be the bad guys.
No,
that's fine,
this was
well, you have to start somewhere. I really appreciate what you're doing. I understand their concerns. But, you know, when they signed on, they knew how dangerous was. Let's put it, how dangerous the job was, so to speak, as far as the Sundays went. But no, you got to start somewhere. It's good. again, yeah, I do have a concern about the one person being there, especially knowing the physical condition of a couple of our employees that are per diems.
And since the last bit of information I had was just the 22, 23 comparisons.
Right.
Was, but basically,
We'll look at that.
but basically, on par with the number of containers, it was a little bit askew on weight. They don't have this month's numbers yet, but as far as weights are concerned, we're pretty.
So the weights are down or the weights are up?
As far as last month, we had 19 containers, and we were up a little bit. We had 141 tons last year at the time, and we had 157 this year. We had 64 tons of CD, we had 111 this year. We had a little over 3.5 tons of plastic. We had 6.9 this year. 15 tons of glass. We're down a little bit this year to 12. So, this.
And the scrap metal pile's working out just fine.
So far, so good, yeah.
And has the
Swap shop?
swap shop open?
No,
Yeah.
May 2nd.
May 2nd?
Yeah.
Have you contacted, I think it's called North Country Recycling, North Country Waste up in Conway, about any of this? Compactors or even trash service?
North Conway, North Country Recycling in Tamworth does on metal. North Conway Recycling, the Garland family,
They do trash hauling too.
yeah, no, I didn't know that they even dealt with compactors.
They used to service our compactor at the old nursing home before we moved.
Really?
Yeah, they're out of North Conway.
Yeah, that was the school with some of the Garlands.
So might not hurt to communicate with them. They're local family-owned business
Right,
rather than
yeah.
Waste Management, which is a global company.
So Casella, those companies we don't have any numbers on our compactor? Anybody else?
Just Atlantic,
Just Atlantic?
the ones that gave us the installation price and 12 to 14 weeks build time. Those are the ones that gave us our bid last year and locked everything down for us.
It's rough when you wanna put something out to bid and you get one bid.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
But it happens
Well, it's not,
frequently.
yes, we wouldn't be guilty of not following the proper procedure and asking for bids. We can only deal with what we get.
Right.
and you don't feel confident that you can get any more bids?
I've talked to, well, I've spoken to Waste Management, and I've emailed the Suffolk Company twice. Email and fax. And they're from Ohio, so they're definitely going to put in a compactor.
So there's nobody you can call at Waste Management and talk to?
Yeah, I've talked to Amanda,
Yeah.
and Pete Littleshell, he covers 3 states.
And they're just saying they don't want the job?
He hasn't returned my call. Yeah, this is, we have a track record. I'm still waiting for a call from a year ago on that, rate increase.
Right.
I can give you my point of contact with Waste Management. She's out of Massachusetts, Foxborough, I think. She's my point of contact up there. I imagine she covers this area.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I'll give you her email address.
Yeah, because I think we'd like to get something going here in the next week or two.
Absolutely.
We'll meet again next week.
Needs to be done. Last thing we need is to have an older compact that literally break down and get us down to one. Because the busy season's coming real quick.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to get on the schedule, even if it's sooner than a month, especially with the revised possibility for your people or any of this information. If you come in next week with more information, by all means, do it. Keep things moving right along.
Reach out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I have a question.
Sure.
Hearing rumors about a time clock.
Oh, yes,
Please enlighten us.
I want to, that was one of the things I was going to bring up on, you had sent out policies, updated policies,
Yep, we wanted to have information on that.
on the time thing that says time cards or whatever, time sheets.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that portion should be updated to say any means authorized by the selectmen. Because if you ever want to be able to use time clocks, which I think would be a good option for us, the road crew, maybe other agencies, other departments, it would be covered under policy.
That's certainly something to consider. I'm thinking, I had an experience with a company where we used to make the time cards by hand, and people would stay 5 or 10 minutes to finish a run, whatever it took them out. They didn't worry about it. But when the company put in a time clock, all of a sudden they were paying a couple of hours overtime a week that they weren't paying before. That didn't work out well for them. It could be awkward for the police and fire departments to punch a time clock rather than go directly from on-call to the scene, things like that. But it's worth thinking about. And of course, that would require that the time cards came in with the actual handwritten report as well. I think it's worth mulling over, let's put it that way, in my opinion. It's not out of the question by any means. How effective, we don't have a road crew to deal with. That doesn't work that way in this town. We have a road agent and he does what he needs to do. But I'm certainly willing to hear the other selectmen's opinions at this time. I'm not ready to make a big decision, but it's an interesting suggestion, for sure.
I think time clocks have their place, but it can be a double-edged sword. But I think if you're in the morning before your guys get in, you know, that may lessen the need for a time clock. If you've got unsupervised personnel coming in, you know, maybe you should have a time clock up there. But if you're in the morning before they are, you know when they're there.
Chip, you look like you're in very serious contemplation of hanging.
Fine. I don't know that it makes any difference with the size of the operation. You're only dealing with 3 or 4 employees, so I think it's, as Bobby says, it can be a double-edged sword. You institute a time clock and all of a sudden you get a lot of pushback on other things. I'm not a big fan of them in this size operation.
In this size operation, I can't really see a benefit.
We're not running shifts or anything like that.
The only thing that would do is it would show accountability, and you know, I'm of the feeling that we have to trust our employees.
Yeah.
We'll go along with that. We don't really need to vote or anything. This was a suggestion that might come up when we revise or revisit the personnel policy. So,
However, you being the superintendent of the transfer station, if you think you need to have a time clock up there,
say so.
Say so, and you wanted our permission to do it, I think we could,
I think it should be in the personnel rules, so it's an option for any
Right.
department head Because if it isn't in there, you guys have to get it in those for department head.
Food for thought.
Yeah, definitely gonna think more on it.
Because right now it's kind of says submit their time, and that's it. It's everybody's handcuffed.
Of course, keeping in mind that you also would be punching a time clock, so your boys wouldn't feel like they were being discriminated against or anything, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose.
No, I don't suppose. If we're gonna have a time clock, it's gonna be everybody or nobody, in my opinion. And that would be, and then again, giving it an option, do we want our secretaries punching a time clock? Do we want Jack punching a time clock? Again, it's small town, small bunch of people.
I'm on salary, and I punch a time clock. All the department heads have to punch a time clock up there, but, you know, I'm in a building where there's 200 employees.
Yeah, much bigger facilities. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up a lot of interesting things today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
very good.
yeah.
You're doing your job.
I'm glad I can be of help.
Yeah.
But
Well, we have anything else for Chris?
No.
No, but I think we need to pull the trigger on that compactor by next week, so we could
Right.
get it together.
so I'll call Peter and show him what time and see if I can get him make a decision on what Liz Smith wants to do. I'll call that
Reach out to Bob.
number
Okay.
on that.
Reach out to her.
See if she's able to light a fire at his rear engine and see if we can,
Yeah, I think getting that replaced as soon as possible is definitely the way to
because,
go.
yeah, we're 12 to 14 weeks out.
Yeah, that's a while yet. That gets us way into the summer.
Okay.
We good?
Great. All right,
Thank you, gentlemen.
have a good day.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Next we have the signature file. We've already signed one.
Can you
of the
send
items.
me a copy of whatever you have,
We have a
whatever you-
veterans exemption
gave them or whatever? Oh,
for the Oh Baby Trust of 2016. I had to read that one, that was just stupid. There is a man's name and everything. Tax collector has seen to it that everything is in order. I'd have a motion to sign this veterans exemption.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is a print and type name. Next up, we have an application for current use assessment. Looks like, as near as I can tell, the tax map and lot is 71-1-8. And they're looking to put 18 acres into, oh, excuse me, wrong. They're looking to put 17 acres into the current use system. Paperwork is in order.
So moved.
Would we, second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is also a print and sign. Then we have two notices of appointment. And this would be to the Agricultural Commission. One is for Susan Weeks, the other is for Joy Perkins. As we know, we're trying to rebuild our Agricultural Commission. We have 2 volunteers. I would have a motion to sign both of these.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That cleans up the signature file. Next thing we'll be going into the action items. And we have a request from the chairman of the Parks and Rec Committee. Says at last night's meeting we met with 2 candidates for alternate positions on the commission. We have 5 regular members and at present 1 alternate. It was felt and discussed to add these 2 as alternates to broaden participation in the commission. There are no forms or anything to appoint anyone, so I believe the commission could have as many alternates as they wanted.
I was gonna bring this up in Selectmen's update, but yes, I was part of that meeting and part of that discussion right there. And these 2 candidates that presented themselves from the community are certainly able-bodied and very happy to help participate. And there was a question of how many alternates that we could have, and I pointed out to the chairwoman that we can really have as many alternates as we want because we've got people that are interested in participating. They may not necessarily have a vote if we've got a full membership at a meeting,
Right.
but their input is certainly welcome.
Sounds fine to me. I would say that we should instruct the chairman of the commission to submit the proper paperwork.
Or go through whatever process. Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, that, I would say we have to appoint alternates just as we do regular members.
Correct.
And go
Yeah.
through Cammy with that.
And utilize subcommittees. I mean,
Oh, that's a
doesn't
good
have to
idea,
be
too.
as much as it
Mhm.
could.
Yeah.
So if you have certain projects that you need help on,
Yep,
Right.
pull those people into it. Because you can wear out regular members pretty fast.
sure can.
So.
Cammy, can you get a word to Eileen to give you the names and you can make up? the
They're on there.
appointments?
Well, they're on here.
There?
Yeah.
Oh, those are the ones, I thought.
Yes.
Those are already members.
Those are the names.
Beautiful.
We
So-
just need the
I just put it in there because I thought you were gonna vote to, yes, go ahead and do the 2 alternates, and then I would do up the appointment paper.
All right, so motion to approve the addition of the 2 alternates. I make it.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we can go ahead and make out that paperwork, Cammy. that's
Got it.
fine.
And then we
Yep.
can sign it Friday or Thursday
Oh.
afternoon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Right.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Okay, we have an email here from Jan Harrell. And it concerns nominating Steve Wingate for an award by the New Hampshire Lakes Association. I don't know if you guys haven't read it or
I
not.
have not.
But basically it's to, she has already nominated Steve Wingate for an award for his contributions to that. And what it says basically here is that the more input the Lakes Association gets, the better are the chances of Steve receiving the award. And I would just make the motion that the board allow me to draft our support for Steve in the awarding of the award and get it sent off, and I'd work with Cammy on that.
Second.
Any discussion? Steve's done a really good job over the years, and he's a dedicated member of a bunch of different organizations. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Cammy, I'll get together with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the 19 Mile Bay Crosswalk and Traffic Signal Project. We have paperwork here that first we have via an RFP, I believe it would be.
Is that the RFP, Cammy, that I
It is.
It is. It's the one that Bob's been through. Address the concerns that we spoke about earlier on. Have you had a chance to read? You wrote it.
I wrote
You
it.
might want to read through that, Chip. Then we have a signal maintenance agreement between the town of Tuftonboro and the New Hampshire Department of Transportation for the rectangular rapid flashing beacon system.
That's the one you already signed. It's
Yeah.
just the,
That
Yeah.
says that they would do it.
Yep.
And we have the set of plans so that if we send out RFPs, or Bs, not Ps, we'd be all set with that. So I think what we need to do is,
that's gonna be a long ad in the paper.
That?
2 pages?
You can summarize that,
Right.
Oh, okay,
and then if you have any interest, you send them the
Send
full
that out.
RFP.
okay.
So you could just ask for interest in the possible installation of the project, and if you get people that want it, you can send.
So do you want to send me how it should be worded in the paper so
You
I
want me to do
can
a summary too?
get it in there?
I can do a summary.
Because I only have 10 days prior to doing the public hearing.
Yeah, I can draft a summary too. I probably won't get to it till tomorrow.
Okay. Looks good.
So that is what, provided we get interest, that was what we would send the interested parties after they've expressed their interest in doing it.
Are we in agreement that this is a good RFP?
I am. I don't think we need a vote.
No, I think we've already voted for.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So, good. That
Summary.
takes care of those action items. We go through the correspondence.
Well, there was another RFP that I wrote for, what the hell was it that I wrote? The other
Sprinklers?
RFP for? No, the fire protection.
Right.
Where is it?
It was in the same, I sent it to you the same day.
Okay, I don't remember seeing that one.
Check your email,
Okay.
We'll be seeing it.
because I want to get that out too.
Okay, so in correspondence, we have a Vegetation Control Service Incorporated. This is talking about the New Hampshire Co-op is going to be spraying power lines, et cetera, in different places for vegetation control. We had the planning board update on the heat pump, which we know. We have a notice to all tax collectors to complete and return a form to the Board of Tax and Lands Appeals no later than May 1st. This has been done by our tax collector. We have thank you letters from the caregivers of Southern Carroll County and vicinity, the Lakes Region Humane Society, and the court-appointed special advocates, thanking us for our donations that we gave. We have a certificate of standards and training for Chief Shigari, introduction to the active shooter response. We have an article from the Concord Monitor, basically reinforcing what we already know, that police and fire departments are having trouble hiring. And then we have a notification from Alan Folsom. He's telling us about the wetlands application to provide a new seasonal hinge dock, and the wetlands application is actually in here. It's been checked out by the Conservation Commission. Apparently there seems to be no pushback from the town of Tuftonboro, and it's in the state's lap at this time. This is all available for more in-depth perusal if you guys wish to, of course. Selectmen's updates.
I think I covered everything that, as the meeting went on.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of did too. I'll just reinforce that Parks and Rec, we talked about the tree in Central Park.
Right.
That's down the road. Agent has agreed to take care of that as soon as he can get in there. We covered the appointees as alternates, and it was recommended that the selectmen write a thank you note to Lovering, as they did a lot of cleanup at the playground. Cut a lot of branches and whatnot.
For free?
That's as much as I know.
Well,
I need to know a little more
my
about
feeling
that.
is the check we cut is thank you note. If we didn't have to cut a check, then we'll send a thank you.
Okay, so it wasn't a volunteer service.
I don't know.
We don't know. We need more information on that one if you can,
Fair enough.
please.
That's the end of my update.
Okay. Chip and I attended the Budget Committee, I'll call it their organizational meeting, where they,
Was that last week?
it was, where they elected a new chairman. Rob Rorston is now the chairman. Chris Sawyer is the vice chairman. And Rob came up with a sheet, which I thought I'd pass on to you since you weren't there. They gave Chip and I one of ideas and procedures how the Budget Committee will go forward.
I have one of those in my folder.
Oh, you do, good.
Yeah.
So you can look that over. It would appear that they intend to take a far more active role in the coming year, so to speak, than they have in the past. All well within their purview as far as I could see, and we'll go from there as the year progresses, I would say.
Yeah, I made sure that they got a copy of the first quarter's expenses and.
Yes,
It's
great.
And hopefully,
Hopefully they all actually get it, you look at it and do
it'll
it.
make
because-
it easier for them to follow the
Yeah.
budget system along.
Because I know when I was on the budget committee, we were supposed to get them monthly. They were printed out and they sat on a table somewhere and people didn't come in and get them. But quarterly would probably be easy enough. But, and you know, although they don't have any control basically over the budget, it does give them a flag. It allows them to come in and ask a question if they needed to, wanted to. And the RSA does say that they should be monitoring the budget as it goes along, which is good.
And a lot of the issues that we've had in the past with new members is this notion that the budget's just a fungible item that we can move money around in.
Right.
And if they get it on a regular basis and review it on a regular basis, they can see how the expenses are running, how the income is running,
Mm-hmm.
how we monitor. I mean, just this road budget was, the winter budget was kind of a killer this year.
It has been in past years, and then for a few years it worked out fairly well, but the weather being the weather, of course. So along with my update on that, we have administrative secretary updates, which falls into this. I've given you guys a schedule of days when I wouldn't be available for meetings. It's a lot, I'll say, better than it was last year, and I'm not scheduled to miss anywhere near as much time. And a couple of these could be rescheduled if we wanted to. May 8th, for example, could be rescheduled. I would say we could do a Wednesday on that one personally, because I wouldn't want Bob to miss cribbage, for example, if you wanted to, or you can deal without me, it's not,
That normally just would be a 9 o'clock meeting on that day.
right.
Why
So-
don't we just shift it to the 1st, 15th, 22nd, rather than 1st, 8th, and 22nd?
Can do that too.
Well, when I say rescheduled, yes, we can do that. That works just fine. And actually, we have 5 Mondays.
We have 5 Mondays, yeah.
We could do 1st, 15th, and 29th if we wanted.
Isn't one of those Memorial Day?
Yes, the 29th.
29th, okay. So but I'm all good with shifting it to the 15th if you would like to do that. Do we need a vote?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Then we'll move it to the 15th. That's very good. June and July is no issues at all. August is always my bad month. I'll be out of the state and out of the country. As it turns out, though, I would only miss one selectmen's meeting, so I'm not sure that that's...
What month are we in? Sorry.
August.
August.
Okay.
And then we get into September, after that, where it would be 2 meetings that I would not be available. The 2nd meeting of the month and the 4th meeting of the month. Again, rescheduling is an option. It's far enough away at the moment that I don't think we have to get too hinky about it, but as the time approaches, we might want to think about that.
Yeah, I think we might wanna, and I'd have to let you know, but I think maybe not meet at all the week of the 10th.
Okay?
Cause that
Of September.
doesn't,
Yeah,
And the 4th is a holiday anyway.
yeah,
right.
so.
We could read-
I'm just thinking ahead of time.
Yeah,
But it
but
may,
we have time on that.
it may work out, it may not work out.
So, your request for my schedule's been met.
Thank you, sir.
Then the administrative secretary is asking us what we're gonna do with the personnel policy. Or more likely, when are we gonna work on the personnel policy? I can do it anytime at this point.
I could have done it today, but I have an appointment at Huggins that I have to make.
Then I guess we
don't
won't
think
do
we
it
can-
today.
Well, I don't think it's a half an hour's job. And that's about what I've got left before I have to get out of here.
Okay.
Um,
Shall we try to schedule a set time for this?
yeah. I guess so.
Or date and
Well,
time?
this might need a separate work session
Well,
rather
fine.
than a meeting.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
We used to do Friday mornings. I don't know what's good for you.
Fridays are typically, well, I have to check the schedule because I have staffing issues right now. But a Friday would be good because I'll just end up taking the day off. We're getting into the season where I take Fridays off anyways. They'll start in the end of May. But I think we should start before this, but,
Yeah, I think you're right to have a work session, because trying to fit it into a.
Yeah, it gets crowded.
meeting is,
yeah.
Yeah, fine.
not gonna work.
We just need to schedule it. And when?
Yeah.
The deal.
Well, let's everybody look at their schedules, and next week when we meet, we'll come back with a,
Sounds fine.
We don't meet next week.
we don't meet next week.
No.
The next meeting.
24th.
What is it, April?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in April. Imagine that.
Well, I'd like to tentatively say we could have the work session on the 28th. But
Well, tentatively, I think that's a good idea.
All right,
that gives us time to
let's be tentative about it.
regroup.
Look at the 28th.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Any other business before the board? Mr. Lassie, do you have anything you'd like to?
I just have a couple comments about the town throughways are in far superior condition than the state roads.
Without a doubt.
I was
We spend more money per mile than the state.
down by the
does.
skating rink, that's brutal.
Yes.
171 is better than that. It's good.
Okay.
Now, he was talking telephones, was he advertising fiber to the phone or fiber to the building?
Fiber to the building.
To the building.
Okay, because that's a misconception, a lot of advertising was put out years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And if, the fellow in charge of Union Wharf rebuild would take a couple of hours and go up and look at the Lee's Mills launch, Molten Borough, that's a superior boat launch up there compared to what is there now in Union Wharf.
Mhm.
As I said earlier, powering on has devastated that, and look at the one down at the museum. They power their boats onto their trailers, and it's a cavity in there that is dangerous.
The Union Wharf repair and the ramp repair are separate items, are they not?
Yes.
Yes.
They're separate?
They're separate.
Okay.
But it's good to know, because not being a boat person, I would have no idea, but you're very well aware of what goes on.
Yeah.
And I gotta thank you for coming in and mentioning it, Fran, really.
And a lot of people don't care because they're only using it twice a year, one in, one out.
Right. Good.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Okay,
All right,
thank
take a motion to adjourn.
you. So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.